Yeah, it started.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that. Do you want to just keep this going?
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
then you can edit it out later. Yep. All right.
Okay.
You're good.
Hold on.
I'm making love to
Okay. Hello, I'm Jamie. I'm from A Mother's Remembering. No, wait, I messed it up. More than enough. A Mother's Remembering. Does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jamie from More Than Enough, A Mother's Remembering, and this is Tasha.
Yes, I'm Tasha Salinas, and I'm with Divine Wellness, and my platform is She Speaks. So we're going to have a really fun conversation today.
Yes, I have known Tasha for many years. We had a moment of silence, but now we're here to speak.
We're here to speak. Yeah, we met back when I was a pastor, or I was becoming a pastor. I don't even know where in my journey it was that we connected, but it was one of those connections that, like, the energy felt right. And so I remember back then we would have conversations about our journeys that had led us to that point. And then the pause that she's talking about, the silence that she's talking about, was nothing short of what, 10 years?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, we just kind of I broke out on social media and just started talking about consciousness and the evolution of our human consciousness. And I actually practice and I live and I lead like Gnostic Christianity. So gnosis, like truly knowing and waking up to who we actually are through the lens of Christianity. And so I've been posting about that. And Jamie's like, girl, we need to get together. We need to have a conversation.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
did.
Because I have been on my journey of awakening and remembering who I truly am, and seeing her speak just drew me in, and I felt aligned, and I knew we had to get together and see what happened.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
here we are having a conversation.
Yeah.
That means so much to me, and our journeys are powerful, and I want to share my journey so far, and I would love for her to share her powerful journey so far.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. My whole heart for why I'm here and why I'm speaking with Tasha is because we're both mothers, and we are both now single mothers. Tasha hasn't always been a single mother. But this speaks to mothers in general. And my whole platform is, feeling like we're not enough, but knowing that we are, and just feeling like we're enough to heal and to remember who we are, and that we have the strength to overcome it all. So, for me, there have been so many moments where I came to this place of knowing that there was more, and that I was meant for so much more, but then having the weight of being a mother, a business owner, just having everything on my plate, I felt so overwhelmed. And then I would compare to other mothers or business owners, and just felt like, how do I do this? But I'm in such a place now where I've overcome a lot of that. And I just want to encourage other mothers and women to know that it's so possible. So, yeah.
Since we're hearing your story, I'm going to act like I'm the interviewee. And this isn't an interview, this is a conversation with my
Right.
friends. But hearing you say that, will you help me understand maybe one, two, or three practices, mindsets, or things that you do that have helped you come back into your
Yeah.
centeredness?
Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So what really started it is, obviously, like, heartbreak can really drive you into awakening and kind of seeking more, because you're hurting and you want to figure out how to overcome it. And then I just started having things come into my field, such as breathwork. And that was a huge, powerful transformation for me, because it really helped me to connect to the divine and really see how powerful that I am, in creation and a part of creation, and learning how to alchemize all of the thoughts and confusion and doubts, and just everything.
It's interesting. I'm a breathwork facilitator. And one thing when we're teaching breathwork, like the more of the info before we actually get into the practice of it, we say on the day that you were born, everybody who was in the room waited to hear you take that first breath.
Yeah.
And that inhale and then that big exhale, right, is like, I'm here. And so I love that was your first, like, not first, but the first practice that you mentioned just now. Is
I love that.
Breathwork. Yeah. I love you.
Yeah.
Keep going. Sorry. What other practices, Jamie, might you suggest to the readers, to the watchers?
So breathwork is a really main one. And then really over time, the shadow work that comes with that. We love shadow work. It's the ebb and flow of just feeling like you have it under control, because it's really the thoughts and beliefs you have within that will reflect out into your reality that I had to learn and really understand. And it's taking control of those thoughts and not allowing them to dictate your day or your reality or your future, and to transform them into what you're desiring.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I was kind of scared of the term shadow work before I actually knew what it was. And I was so happy to find out I had already been doing some of the work that they term shadow work. And this book came into my awareness, and I read it, and I didn't read it. I ate it. I ripped out each page and ate it, but it was The Dark Side of the Light Chasers.
Okay.
And it really helped to demystify shadow work and help to disarm shadow work. Because I know for me, especially being a former pastor, when people start to face their own darkness, there's so much shame that comes along with that.
Yep.
And the reality is, and I'll tell my story and whatever, but the reality is like, you don't have light. You can't be the light if you don't illuminate the own darkness within yourself. So I absolutely love that that's a tenet of yours, and you're awakened, you're remembering.
Yes.
Yeah. I love that. Beautiful.
Right now, especially, I have a more of an understanding of how powerful our beliefs within ourself are, as within, so without.
Yes.
Very aligned with that. And so right now I'm learning to take the thoughts and transform them, because until we take those thoughts, until we take action and intentionally transforming them, nothing changes. And we keep getting the same cycles.
I feel like you're about to preach. Keep going. I'm like getting the spirit.
We keep getting the same situations, maybe just a different person or a different scenario, but the same situations, the same outcomes. And until we learn how to take control of those thoughts and transform them and know that those are not true, and create what we want from them, and then trust and stand rooted in that, nothing changes.
So when she was saying this, I'm starting to feel like a little excited because, like, just really quickly, I love to combine neuroscience and spirituality.
Same.
And that's kind of how we resonate. And so I heard inside my soul and my psyche was like, you will be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Exactly.
You take each thought captive and you make it obedient to Christ. And I'll talk about who Christ is to me and my gnosis of understanding of who the person of Jesus is, and the Christ frequency.
This is why I love her. She's so knowledgeable. I'm excited right now.
Thank you. I'm excited. But to, we'll have Tasha's turn here in a minute. But to go back to what you're saying is that's not easy. Jamie, that's not something that we're like, oh, there's an owie thought. Let me just go ahead and spit shine it up. No, we actually have to learn to allow ourselves to remember the truth of who we are.
Yes.
Which means shedding who we aren't. And that's the process that's happened in Jamie. And it's so beautiful and it shines through her. So when we did first reconnect at the what was the coffee place called? It was so...
Where did we...
I don't know. It was here in Oklahoma City.
Oh, Peretz. Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
So anyway, we met and it was just a beautiful surrounding, and to hear just snippets of her journey and the excitement that Jamie has for this platform, I was like, hell yeah. Can I cuss?
Totally
okay.
Fine.
I'm like, heck yes. Hell yeah, I'm in. And let's have a conversation. So before we got started, we're also like, how do we want to approach this conversation? And I was like, you take it and run with it. And then also, like, I would like to post it, for my people to see and my
Yeah.
audience to see. And there are so many people in this position who are single mothers and business owners. Like, what the hell? I'm sorry, diva. Yes, you deserve all that and more, my beloved. So anyway, I love hearing the work, the breath work, the shadow work,
Yeah.
and then what was that third one? Oh, mindset training.
Yes,
Mindset training.
because our egos are so loud. They can be so loud.
Mhm.
And it's a constant daily wrangling of the ego and transforming those thoughts. And that is a practice that I have grown stronger in. And you just get to a place where the thought comes, but you let it flow and you don't attach to it.
Beautiful.
And eventually the thought is transformed and you will no longer get that thought. So yeah,
it's a journey for sure. Speaking of intrusive thoughts, my cat is on the other side of the door scream meowing. So if you guys hear an intrusive meow, that's what that is. And if you don't, then you don't.
it's all good.
Interesting. I'm just going to say this one little tidbit about taking that thought and then eventually it doesn't come back. So you're rewriting those neural pathways. For me, I'm very intellectual, like I'm a nerd. It comes through as emotion. Like sometimes the flutter in my tummy will set me off and I'll go down like an anxious thought rabbit hole, or even a flutter of my heart, or why am I tensing, the jaw? And what we now know of a lot of the shadow work and the energetic work that we do is that sometimes there are like, I'm just going to use the word like demons, like there are fearful thoughts that are really attached. And by attached, I mean like we have neural pathways in our mind of fear cycles that are just there. And that's all the attachment is. So once we can dissociate from that emotion or that thought, it's easier to kind of fling it off, which is funny because back in the Bible, that's literally what casting out demons is taking an entity, which is a thought form, is just a thought form, and getting rid of it.
So I'll piggyback on that really quickly.
Go for it.
The ego, about how the ego wants to keep us safe.
Yes.
And so that's when that old programming will pop up, because the ego wants to keep you safe. It feels like it's been in this situation before. And so it's going to go automatically to that neural pathway of the old programming. And this is when you have to do the work to know that's not the truth. That's the old me. That's the old programming. And you bring it back with the desire you want, the reality that you actually want to be. And that's when the transformation starts. And that's when the new neural pathway begins.
Absolutely. And a thing that for me, like piggyback on the piggyback as we continue the conversation, I get a visual when we talk about creating new neural pathways. So, and we've all probably seen this, but I'm just going to say it one more time. We're going down on a sled of a snowy mountain. And so, it's probably 3 p.m., but it's still really cold outside because we're up in the mountain somewhere. And all day long, everybody's been going down this same path. Well, that path is no longer soft snow. It is actually kind of packed in there. And now that the sunlight has hit it, it's actually super slick. Like, oh my gosh, it's a slippery ice slope at that point. Well, when we don't want to go down that path, we get to create a new path. But where there is no path, there is a little bit of work to get that first one gone. And the second one. And then suddenly it starts to become easier and automatic. But we didn't even realize it's snowing. And so that old path has already been recovered. It doesn't exist anymore. It's gone. And so sometimes we're like, well, how do I catch the thought before it's gone crazy? Is look at your life. If you're not happy in your life, then let's take a breath. Back to point one, right? And let's get some clarity and awareness of where we are. And so I just brought that up, and I know we jumped to the end of how do we do it, but people get so stuck there and they're like, well, I've heard that, but I already know that. And so they want those practical steps or maybe a visual to hold on to.
And, to piggyback on that as well, with people maybe feeling like they've heard that, there's a change of perspective can change everything.
Absolutely.
So keeping our hearts open and our minds open is truly, truly important. So
love that. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce a little bit about myself. And, that brought me here. I'm huge into evolution. And so I know that's so nerdy. And hi, my name's Tasha. Let's talk about evolution. But this is an evolutionary process. So why are we all of a sudden talking about consciousness and awareness and remembrance and waking up and all these things? And what I believe is that where we are in human history in this time-space dimension is that we have actually transcended Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So that base level, that was just like survival. Well, we still have that instinct, that survival instinct in us. But as we go up Maslow's scale, that tip top of that triangle is transcendence, the awareness that we don't need anything because we are everything. Yeah. And what happens is when the human psyche starts to try to conceptualize the all that is, everything that is separation comes up for witnessing and release. And so what that means is any darkness in us is separation from who we actually are. And because that can feel really rich and deep and almost like higher than our understanding, I understand it through the message of the Bible, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. And people want to argue about the Bible and the parts that have been removed. And I believe that it's all been removed by design, because there are certain, it's almost like puzzle pieces that are leading. God loves us so much, and God is just everything that is the actual natural flow of life on earth is God, in my opinion. And so the way that everything is going, the seasons are always changing, and that includes human consciousness. So in the beginning was just everything. And then all of a sudden humans were made, and we were given free will to think and make decisions. And so what happened is we were put into a world where we didn't know we had the ability to make decisions. So we just fell into what people told us. We were basically born into a world where people told you who you are, your name, you're a girl, this is what we believe in our family, and this is our tribe, and we're going to fight to the death to protect who we are, which had to happen back in tribal times and Neanderthal tribe. Like, we want to go back. It had to happen. But where we are now is we understand we don't need to be barbaric to understand love. We get to feel it first from the inside. And back to, and I'm not going to like preach the whole message, but back to the Jesus of it all, my awakening, I was in the Christian church and I loved being a pastor. I love the relationships that I built. I love the feeling of connecting and hearing people in their darkness and sharing some of the things that I did to get through it. But where I had to draw the line was that dogmatic piece of it, to where people had to be like us in order to be saved. In reality, the message is very, very true. But I think based on where we were evolutionarily is that we didn't understand the perspective needed to be able to see. So in order to understand God's word, we get to see it from a God perspective. And it's not an ego God complex. It's understanding that we have always accessed God from the inside out, even if only intellectually, even if only in our thoughts and our emotions. And when those things are in alignment, when our thinking and our feeling and then our intuition and our logic are all balanced, then there's a balanced human being who has the ability to really, truly receive higher and higher energies and consciousness. And before we get slipped up, well, what does this have to do with evolution? This is the evolution of human consciousness to integrate our spirituality and our humanity in the person of the Christed individual, in the Christed consciousness. Jesus, the Christ, came and let us know how to be in relationship with God, knowing that the God is within, the I am. So that's kind of like a big picture thing, but I love to marvel and swim in these waters because as a quantum communicator, I think that wherever people are, if you're watching this, then you're resonating with pieces of it. Because if not, then you're not here. You're out doing some other stuff, just to kind of keep the balance of the light and the dark and the earth at this time. So
I am smiling so big right now because I'm like, hello, all. This is Tasha. Just jumps right in, super deep.
My bad.
If any of that went over your head, it's okay. Eventually, it will start unraveling. Everything connects, and it will connect for you.
It literally does. Thank you for saying that. And I'm just going to tell you real quick. I speak big, and I know that it's seeds. And so when I say certain things, people are like, whoa, whatever. It doesn't have to resonate. It meets you where you are. And when you come into your remembrance, it may or may not resonate. But you solving the puzzle for yourself is my calling. So I'm here as an activator. I'm here as a trigger.
Yes.
as a catalyst and to say
A
things.
powerful trigger. My goodness.
Yeah.
I love it.
but it's just who I am.
Yes.
And so coming back full circle of, who are we as single moms? Like, wait a minute. Like, this doesn't feel good. And as I followed what felt good in me, and I'm like, no, I'm actually going to say that thing. And not to piss anybody off, but because it almost like burps out of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a channel of higher consciousness. So there's so many times where I almost have an out of body experience where I'm witnessing, right, myself saying some higher level stuff that I've never learned. Yeah. I mean, yes, I have books everywhere. I've done the research. I have all the schooling and the education that I ever wanted. But there's stuff that I know and that I say that I've never been taught. And that's where, again, I love that you always use the word remembering, because I'm like, oh. And once I started hearing that, I was like, and I was able to exhale into who I actually am. Yeah. And you know what? I am Tasha, and I get paid to exist, and I exist to give. So yes, that's it.
And that reminded me of a connection I had with the divine when I was shown that you weren't chosen, you were entrusted. And that helps you, because you're here and entrusted for a specific reason.
Beautiful.
And when you get out of your ego of being chosen or not chosen, because we're all chosen, you've just been specifically entrusted for a specific reason. Mm-hmm. And when you can truly believe that and trust that, you're not worried about who's understanding you, who likes you and who doesn't. Mm-hmm. And you just do what you're entrusted to do. Mm-hmm. And that's a powerful place to be in. So
when you said the bit about being entrusted, it doesn't matter who likes or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I get it. But for me, I don't care what people think, right? Yeah. Right? I don't care. What I do care about is remembering that I've been entrusted to just be who I am, and that the provision will come. Yeah. Because for me, I don't care if people don't like me, but what I do care about is paying my mortgage.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Everyone is on a different level with that, because of, first of all, there are different levels of awareness, but also just our programs are different.
Absolutely.
Our programs are so different. And so one person may hold on to something stronger than the other that needs to be worked on and released. And so
I was raised by a single mom, and money was always an issue in our family, always. But I didn't care. It wasn't an issue for Tasha, and I always had everything I needed. And my mom sometimes was like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't, whatever. I was like, oh, I didn't know I was supposed to want a brand new car when I turned 16. Anyway, I never wanted for anything. She always made sure we had food on the table. I got married. We were fine, but money was kind of like whatever. But we built ourselves a really nice foundation. We were able to live. And then I was a stay-at-home homeschooling mom. Money was still, we weren't rich, but we were fine, perfectly fine. And then once I started working, we had money and we were debt-free and all this. But then the divorce, I initiated the divorce. I initiated all of that stuff. And suddenly, for the first time in my life, I got to worry about money. And there was some subconscious things in me, programming in me, probably picked up from my childhood and living, lower income and all this from my mom, that were never even my experience. But now I'm thankful for the opportunity, have been like, oh, I didn't realize scarcity or fears of scarcity still existed in me, in my psyche. And I'm like, oh, so coming terms with that, back to the, I don't care if you guys like what I say or not, but what I do care about is getting a regular paycheck. So when I quit all my jobs and everything and went out, I have no guarantee of anything. And just being who I am is enough. Yeah. That's the where Tasha is. Yeah. Has been. That's not where I'm at anymore. Now I'm just like, well, it's a free fall. Yeah. So we're going down together.
Yeah, exactly. And my thing that I have been really working on is just trusting. I have overcome a lot with trusting, but that's where, because with money, not that growing up I had a lot with certain parents, and then with other parents I did. So it was never, I think I saw that balance of like, I saw a struggle, but then I saw not a struggle. So I feel like when it comes to finances, sure, there can be a little fear, but I've always really been able to trust that it's all going to work out, and it always does. But mine, it's weird. Mine is relationally. And I
trusting another in a romantic relationship or friendship trusting.
Tell me more. Both. Okay. I think both. Yeah. Just trusting relationships, trusting people's intentions and their heart. And it just stems obviously from the old programming, childhood, and having experiences where the people closest to you have hurt you the most. And if you can't trust the people closest to you, who can you trust? So that's something I've really been having to overcome myself. So that's an example of our journeys being different, and obviously everyone's shadow work is different, because that goes into shadow work and having to work through things. So
I love that the trust comes back to it. And I'm not going to get teachy, but I'm just a teacher. That's just who I am. And my program, it's called Align, right? Align, when you align your head and your heart. And 3 parts: know yourself, trust yourself, and then express yourself. Everything, every stage I talk from, every interview, everything is always in me, centered around know yourself, trust yourself, and express yourself. So the trust, I always say, is the key, right? The self-trust, the trust, whatever, trust in every facet, every color shade that we want to put trust in is always the key, because I can know who I am. I can know that I'm a beautiful, conscious individual, that I'm here to live the life of my dreams. And God says yes and more, my beloved. I can know all that stuff. But if I don't trust that knowledge, if I don't trust myself, then I'm never going to be in an open, healthy relationship, or I'm never going to handle my finances well. And so I'm a student of my own message, right? Trust. But I love that you said that, and I love that you're living that, because like, again, recording this right now, I was like, hit go, hit start, hit record, hold on, let me breathe. And she told us that breathing is her thing. So the fact that she requested, she expressed, I need some time to breathe, is beautiful. So coming back into remembering and knowing that you are more than enough, and knowing that you just embody this, I am encouraged. I am, I'm like, okay, she's doing it, because I will plan to prepare, and then to plan again, and then I'll schedule it for next week, rather than just jump in. And so we're doing this together. We're not alone. You're not alone. Like it's possible, really. To what is it possible to do? Tell me.
It's possible to heal. It's possible to make space for yourself, even when you feel like you have so much on your plate. How do you make the time and space for you, yourself, your healing, your journey, and to remember whatever that looks like for you? And it's possible. There have been so many times when I felt like, how is this possible? But here I am. I have healed so much. I'm still figuring things out, but I have overcome so much as a single mother, business owner, so much on my plate that I can get so overwhelmed, but I keep choosing me. And I think that's the key, is that you have to keep choosing you and move forward. Don't stay in the past. Don't look into the present. The future. And stay present is really key.
I want to ask you a question. I'm gonna put her on blast. I'm gonna calling an audible here. What does, when you're in your remembrance, what does it feel like in your body? Will you describe that for us?
When I'm in my remembrance?
In your body.
I think that I'm just now getting to a place where I really understand what it means to remember who I am. And I'll say that a moment I had of just remembering and what it means to remember, because this is going to maybe sound wild to people.
Say it louder then. Say it louder then.
But every possible reality and scenario that you could have in a lifetime already exists within you. You can call it your higher self. You can call it your oversoul. But there was a connection I had where I was shown my higher self with every reality possible just running through my soul. And that when I have a desire or a thought, that is a memory. That is a fragment of memory from a reality that exists. And it's all about alignment. And so when I truly understood that and felt that, I felt so much love and peace and just hope, honestly. And
that's beautiful.
It's so powerful.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And one thing that I love about resonance, so where we are evolutionarily, is that yes, we do communicate in words, but we also communicate in energy. And that simply means when we're having a conversation or when we're in an environment, how does it feel? And so when Jamie says that, I'm like, she uses those words and they are so 100% true. The way that it feels for me and the way to express the same sentiment, but the words that I use is that anything I can imagine already exists. Period. There's infinite realities in every right now moment based on the choice that I have to think or to witness, or how I perceive my surroundings will help determine the reality that I'm stepping into. So as she talks about remembering, like, our higher self or our oversoul, or remembering these fragments of ourself, I'm like, well, which reality do I want to choose? And so I see myself thumbing a book and all those pages, and I'm like, that's the page I want to be on. And so when I'm in my remembrance, is I remember the right now moment. I take a deep breath and I know that I'm safe. And I know that I'm safe to know without a shadow of doubt that my significant other, my man, is on his way, because I'm a woman, and this is my heart, right? I'm a woman worthy of pursuit. So instead of me choosing the reality where I get to chase him and I get to all this stuff, I get to sit in my beauty as a radiant goddess that I am, knowing that I am the flame, that I am the woman. And what feels good in my body is to have my king show up. Yes. Right? And it feels good. And so whether that's remembrance that I'm whole, worthy of pursuit, or if that's me choosing the page in the book where this dude shows up.
Remember, it's for sure.
It's real.
It is.
And so I can imagine it. If I can dream it, I can be it, right? They told us that growing up. If you can dream it. And I was like, well, I'm dreaming of being a billionaire and I don't see it, but aligning myself and remembering that I'm worthy of that. So it's beautiful, that remembrance. And I will say for me, peace, there's peace. I get excited. I get joyful, exuberant. People are like, you're manic. And I'm like, maybe, but I'm having fun. I'm going to be the happiest, crazy person out there. But, as I have felt, you said, this is going to sound weird. This might sound crazy. Yeah. That's what we're all saying, because we're all waking up, because we're like, oh shit, I thought it was just me. Yeah. I thought I was the only one thinking that I was whatever. And the reality is we're all angels, remembering that we're angels. And so, and as we know about angels, or as we
say it that way,
we are, and we're remembering that we are. And like, if we want to go back to the mythos, we're all gods and goddesses who pretended to be humans for a while, and now we're breaking character. And so this goddess, her legacy is really beautiful. You know what I mean? Hers is as well. And we're working together. So anyway, I just get to play with those ideas. Yeah. That's what I do.
Yeah.
So
I love that. One thing I do want to touch base on, it's one of the main things. I have such a heart for mothers, as I've stated. Your journey is unique to you. And I think it's a powerful one, because I feel like we can all live in lack and fear, and it keeps us from changing our reality, because we stay stuck in that old programming of just, how is this possible? I'm scared. And I'm in awe of you being able to overcome and to push through and to know what you wanted and how you changed your life and took those steps and didn't allow lack or fear to keep you stuck. Could you tell a little bit about your journey?
I am.
Yeah.
You guys want me to say, one day I woke up and I was like, I'm going to create the life of my dreams. And that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Fear was like, hey, girl, you know me more than you know yourself. Right. So it was, and this won't be a long St. Olaf story, but in 2020 is when I had my grand awakening. So there were little cracks and stuff showing up before then, but in 2020, essentially the pandemic here was global in our country. Like, it was just massive. And so my husband was feasting on the news, and I started having cluster panic attacks, and then all of a sudden I started getting like visions and impressions of me being in different scenarios that were not good. And so I was living and breathing and eating fear. I couldn't get out of it. And so for me, it was just, I had to make it stop. And so I tell this story all the time, but I would run to the closet and just like shudder through these panic attacks. And the reason I would go in the closet is because it was an enclosed space. And my biggest trigger was always feeling trapped. but I needed to be held in that moment. And so as I was able to start breathing and calming myself down, again, my foundation is Christianity. So I was praying to God, and I was like, God, I know I left the church, and this is long after I was done being a pastor, but I was like, God, if you're real, like, I need freaking help.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden in one time, but after doing this, every time panic attacks would come, I would start to notice the fear would subside quicker. And then I started to feel a little lighter. And then I started getting visions of like me on a beach, visions of me with a man, or, you know, laughing at different places and just being places that I'd never been.
So memories
Are coming back. And then the clothing in that closet would turn into angels singing to me. And then Bible verses would come to mind. And there's Zephaniah, and I don't quite remember where it is, but it was, he will rejoice over you with singing. He will rejoice over you with song. And I would just sit there and breathe and just hear. And it wasn't even a song. Now I know it was the ringing in the ears of the spiritual awakening is what it was. But it was, I just would listen to the silence. And there were times when the darkness and the silence was so freaking deafening that I would just cry. And I'm like, let me die then. Yeah. Let me die. Fast forward, this past 5 years has been that integration. And so it's just been, doing the next right thing. And so I, I went and I got a job because I needed a job. I left my husband. Like, I created bit by bit. I don't know how to say it. I didn't have a clear vision of my future. I just would go on what felt good.
Yeah.
And so I had all these job offers, and I took one that helped people learn about themselves. That's it.
Can I pause you for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned how you left your husband.
Mm-hmm.
How did you come to that choice? Like, how did you overcome, if you had any fear of that, becoming a single mother, your kids no longer having their father and mother in the home? What helped you make that choice for yourself and not focus on everybody else?
Our marriage was not toxic necessarily, but it was very unhealthy. We didn't have any emotional depth or whatever. And so leading up to that grand awakening, I was like, I don't feel happy. I don't feel safe. I don't feel healthy. I wasn't feeling drawn to my husband. I was starting to read the room. Like I said, I knew that it didn't feel aligned. And so when everything broke and cracked, I was like, something's got to give. And for me, the biggest thing in my face was the marriage. And so we had gone to counseling and therapy, and I started bringing up these really challenging conversations. And when he told me in so many words that he was unable and maybe unwilling to do what it took for us to meet together, I knew I had to make that choice. To answer your question, it was hard. I just had to make the choice. I was like, I could stay like this forever and feel mid, or I could truly allow myself the freedom of taking the step of divorce. And I will say, once I made that decision, the weight lifted off my shoulders. I was able to go through this process, which wasn't easy. And I used to run around saying it was Christ-like divorce because I never talked crap on my husband. I never allowed myself to believe that he was malicious towards me. In so doing, I think I alchemized a lot of that resentment that I had held on for the 20 years that we were together. And I could tell stories that aren't healthy, but that I would feed into. And I was like, no, in order for me to live the life of my dreams and be the person that I'm dreaming that I can be, I get to let that go. Yeah. And I get to not hold on to resentment. And so constantly communicating with the kiddos, checking in with them. I was a stay-at-home homeschooling mom, and all of a sudden a divorce. Yeah. That was a big life transition. And so staying in touch with who I am, meditation. I wasn't praying in the traditional sense, but I was meditating like crazy.
Yeah.
And I was weightlifting.
Yeah.
I was lifting weights because I knew that my body had stuff that I wanted to work out. And in therapy, my therapist was like, oh, so what I see you doing is pushing away the resistance. You're dropping the resistance and you're getting stronger. And I did.
Yeah. So. I love that.
Yeah.
And a lot of trust and faith have to go into that. Yeah.
It was blind faith. It was jumping off a tower. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be okay. Yeah. It was like, well, if I die, I'm going to splat really big.
Yeah. You have to believe first before seeing. So,
yeah. And just trust. Trust. I don't know if I had any belief. Yeah. I was just like, all I know is this ain't it.
Yeah.
Is that enough?
So you're saying you didn't believe that there was going to be a better tomorrow, a better outside of where you were at?
probably on some level I had that belief, but in those moments it was like, just take a breath. I don't know what tomorrow holds. I don't know how I'm going to pay this. I don't know how I'm going to whatever. And so I planned as much as I could, but eventually you still have to move out. You still have to tell the children. And pause. I divorced the same man twice. So in 2014, we separated, filed divorce, we, all the things, and we got back together because I believed that that's what we were supposed to do. And then shortly thereafter, I was pregnant with our third child. So I was like, no way in hell am I going to leave as a pregnant woman, And so I really gave it the earnest try. But then after a couple of years, it was like, I don't know what the future is. And I'm going to divorce him again. But I probably had the belief, but it was faith and just like, I don't know, breathing. It's almost like, I don't know if you've ever, or if anybody's ever had panic attacks, but when you're in the crest of a panic attack, you think you're dying. Like, that's it. And I'm like, I don't care what I'm going to eat for dinner next Thursday if I'm dying. I just care about the next breath. That's how it was. Survival mode. But then that's what it took to everything that wasn't me be stripped away. And that's when the conscious awakening happened. And I was like, oh, snap. What you mean, God? What you mean you're alive in me? What you mean I got to experience that? So, I mean, I could preach clearly all day on that, but that's, and actually that's what keeps me going now. When I talk about the money, the lack of finances, or the recognizing that I have all of my needs, I'm like, I don't know how it's going to happen. I get to choose. I get to just choose the next right thing. So
thank you so much for sharing that.
Absolutely.
I feel like there's a lot of women that need to see that they're not alone and that they've had the same thoughts. They've had the same experiences, and just to see another woman's experience and how she overcame that and pushed through regardless of possible fears that you did have. But you knew that there was something else and you needed to stay true to yourself. So
thank you.
It's amazing.
And those little steps do add up. Know that the right now moment, taking a breath. Since then, I've started 2 companies. I've lost 100 pounds, not even trying. Like I've spoken nationally. Like I've done things that I never I was on a TV show in Portugal. Like, what the hell? That doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. So that affirmation, thank you. I need it. And I have felt so alone. I still feel so alone, because when you're a front edge, when you're a new thought thinker, when you're on the leading edge of a massive wave of humanity's evolution, you bet your ass you're going to feel alone. So if you're watching this and you're a single mother, or if you're in resonating with any of this, I see you. You're not alone. But we do have to go into our own inner darkness, to our own closet, to our own fears, to our own our trust, our issues, whatever programming we have, we get to deprogram it by seeing it first. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you for stating deprogram, because we are very much programmed. And that's what we're doing, is deprogramming.
Self-deprogramming.
Self-deprogramming and remembering. So,
that feels like a nice, like... so good. All right. What else? Anything else? Any last thoughts?
Not today. That's it just for today.
That big 2-ton message for today.
I know. I do want to say, if anyone is resonating with this, they feel alone. They've had some experiences they just don't understand, and they need to reach out and speak to somebody. Reach out to us. Yes. You can comment on this. Comment. You can message.
Reach out. I do have a card. It's a Bitly card. I'll drop it probably in the comments or whatever description we put up here. But I offer one-on-one coaching as well, group coaching, sound experiences, breath work, meditation, like whatever we need. Like, we're in it to win it together. So.
Even if you're just curious. Just reach out.
Just curious. All right, well, there's that.
All right.
Bye. we need our assistant to hit stop. Or do we? Is this? Hold on. Can I push it? See, did it stop? It's like bleep, ran out of it. Oh, we're so cute. It's still recording.